I got 15 minutes with Michael Lombard. So, oh, hey, live now. Hey, guys. Sean with Carrier Defender. We're here at the Broker Carrier Summit. Alex and Michael Lombard are going to be live in about 15 minutes. We're going to try to share what they're doing. Great guys. Alex is doing some really good reporting. But yeah, just want to meet some of the folks we have over here. Kale, real popular guy, getting really loud on social media. How you doing, Kale?
I would good.
Let me rotate this sucker real quick. All right. So how many relationships have you been having over here? Have you meeting a lot of cool people, carriers? Or?
A lot of carriers, like yourself, meeting, putting faces to names type thing, just to shake hands. But yeah, lots of carriers. So it's been wonderful, and obviously last day. So and we're giving away a bunch of broker dude stuff and trucker dude stuff.
They're
so
pretty cool hats.
Yeah. So appreciate Sean helping us out and everybody coming together. So it's awesome industry.
Good people meeting good people.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. I heard they lumped you with some luggage for some reason to just make your time going back home a little more complicated.
Yeah.
What happened there, huh?
Chad and I won the
hey Chad.
Post and Pray golf tournament.
Let me
so
see if I can angle this the other way. Hey Chad.
There.
All right.
So we were the winners in the golf tournament. So we had this
pretty good at golf.
Huge box to put our trophy in.
So if somebody
followed our post, you see their big trophy. So it's like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, if somebody sticks you in with a random trophy to take home, I think you ship with UPS, right?
Yep.
That sucker's not going on the plane.
No, it's too big for that. We were very surprised by how big it was. Like, oh.
So who's the better golfer out of you two then?
This guy.
A little bit, yeah. I'm a 10, he's a 14, but it's a lot of times when we play, it's close.
That's cool.
Just depends on the day.
So one of the holes is a downhill 300 plus yard, kind of downhill fairway. And, you can get a pretty good drive. You get a good distance. 325 yards, I thought that's like the longest drive I've ever hit.
Okay.
But it was, downhill. Hated. He outdrives me.
That's if you're a pair, you're a team, right?
Yeah.
Well, one thing Alex and I are trying to do, we're trying to get our audience some of the good stuff out of Broker Carrier Summit. So for the folks in the audience that are watching this or watching recording, who kind of folks are you trying to make carriers? And how can they reach you folks? What's the best way to reach you?
YouTube, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is just Cale Pearson, but on YouTube is B2B Transportation Services, obviously our website as well. But those are the 2 or 3 best ways to reach us. And if you're on the fence, you need to come.
Yeah, lots of good people here.
One of the biggest problems I've had here is that every time I put business cards in my pocket, I run out of business cards. So make sure you bring a lot of business
Bring
cards.
about 100. Yeah. Okay, let me get a quick screenshot of your badge, Chad.
Chad.
So these are the guys. If you want to reach out to them. Good stuff. Good audience on LinkedIn. All right. But yeah, let's get the camera going, and we'll get ready for Alex over here with Michael. Hopefully Michael can get us some tips on staying in shape, right? All right.
I think the Broker Carrier Summit theme, Jack, Beyond 3. Hey, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you guys staying for on Friday. We do try very hard to jump on love it, so you can grab flight, home for dinner and all that. So thanks so much for staying. Good Wednesday. Before we get started this morning, we've got a great one to speak. We've got a market update. We've got some highlights to get to. Before that, I want to remind you something. First of all, don't forget to go to supplychainswag.com and pick up your Broker Carrier Summit merch. We're going to be putting that out as well. So the next time you guys can talk to our merch stuff to the show in April. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. If you're like to scan that, check that out. It's real simple. Supplychainswag.com. Search Broker Carrier Summit, or there's actually a page of all this. Also, before we go to the next thing, I want to highlight one person who's doing something really cool. That's Cale Pearson. Is Cale over this morning?
Right here.
Oh, right up front. That's Cale Pearson right here. So Cale started a merchant store as well. It's actually pretty cool. So I'm wearing a hat today for this. He's got Broker Dude, Broker Babe, Trucker Dude, Trucker Babe. I think those are kind of the brands. But the cool thing about this is that all the merch that he sells, he's going to take a part of the proceeds and he's going to use that for carrier scholarships. One thing that we're focused on is trying to make it easier and easier for carriers to make it to the summit. Because we know that a carrier, especially a small carrier owner operator, they pull their truck off the road for a couple days, not making any money. Brokers, they come here, their loads are probably still moving, they're probably still making money. So they took this initiative to do that. So if you go to their website, which is
FreightBrokerDude.com.
FreightBrokerDude.com, you can buy some merch, and all some of the proceeds are going to go to carrier scholarships. I think they've already sold enough to have 1 or 2 scholarships.
Two.
2 carrier scholarships already for the April show. So thank you so much. I'm going to throw out a little bit of swag here. So if you're in the front row, congrats. That's what you get for coming early. Somebody over there. It's a great street sport. It's just oh no, man, I had it. Okay, we should not get that.
Good throw.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying to go with my t-shirt. We'll see what's good.
Oh.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, too.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, yesterday I told you guys that we were part of some organizations. Yesterday we highlighted the Reads Across America. Corey George, hopefully you were here for that. Definitely make sure that you go to readsacrossamerica.org. Check out what they're doing. You can sponsor reads. You can later reads on Tombstones of Veteran Soldiers. You can offer your truck to deliver a load and you'll get the tax credit for that. Or the broker, you can offer basically to send that load on the truck, get the carrier, and get the write-off either way. So make sure you check that out. Another organization that we partner with that we're really excited about is Truckers Against Trafficking. What's happening with that? So today we're really excited to have our representative from there, the Director of Industry Training for Truckers Against Trafficking. Please welcome to the stage, Heather Fry. All right, Heather, how you doing this morning? Excellent. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about what you're doing at Truckers Against Trafficking.
Yeah, so I am with TAT. We call it TAT now because we've expanded not just within the trucking industry, but we've expanded to the bus and the energy industry as well. So Truckers Against Trafficking is who we are, but we go by TAT now. So
You have buses against trafficking?
we have TAT bus, TAT energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking there.
Yeah, and so in the realm of the trucking industry, we have over the road, local driver and delivery. So, yeah, we are an international nonprofit. We work with multiple sectors, like I mentioned, to raise up a local army of eyes and ears out on the road who are able to spot signs of human trafficking and able to make a simple phone call to authorities when they think that they're seeing something as a means of combating a heinous crime. And if you want me to go into, kind of the statistics of the crime, but
Yeah, definitely just a bit of that. I think this is really important because I don't know about you guys, but this is something that's kind of, behind the curve. And for most of us who go to a gas station and fill up our vehicle with gas or out and about, the last thing that we're probably thinking about is that there's a bad situation going on right here. I know that I don't know what those signs are. In our current political discourse, I know that, trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking is being mentioned, but it seems like it's being mentioned right now probably for political gain, but it continues to happen all the time. A lot of people just don't know about it. So I'd love for you to talk about the statistics of it, how big of a problem this is, and then help us understand how we can see, when it's happening, try to see what the red flags are.
yeah, absolutely. I think we'll start with the definition of human trafficking. It is exploitation of a human being through force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of commercial sex or forced labor. And there's always a third party who is in control and profiting off of that person. And what Hollywood has done is made it so we are looking for something that traffickers know that they can get away with the crime because it doesn't look like what Hollywood has made it out to be. It's a lot more insidious. It's happening right under the surface. So there are 50 million people enslaved in the world today who garner over $236 billion in profits each year off the backs of these people. A person, if we're talking about sex trafficking, can be forced to have sex up to 20 times a day. And many of us know somebody who has been a victim of just even one sexual assault. You know how that can turn a life upside down. Imagine that kind of violence happening to you day after day after day. And that's the reality of sex trafficking in the U.S. So, you talk about the political system, and many times when I talk with people about human trafficking, they'll actually bring up what is the crime of human smuggling. And they're two very distinct crimes. Smuggling is a crime against a border, against an immigration law. It always involves movement from one location to another, and oftentimes for a large sum of money. Human trafficking is a crime against a person. It does not require movement. In fact, we have somebody on staff who was trafficked by her own mother out of her own home from the ages of 6 to 18. So it's really important that we not politicize this because traffickers are counting on us, thinking that it looks like something that's happening at the border, when in reality it's like perhaps what we call a Romeo victim who's reaching out to a 14-year-old girl who's mad at their parents saying, your parents don't understand you. I'm going to buy you a new, what's that bag that you want, those shoes that you want. I'm going to love you forever and like that. It's swept up into a situation that they literally can't get themselves out of. Yeah.
But then you have some information slides to show you if you're watching those.
Yeah, so one of the things that Truckers Against Trafficking does is we work with within the logistics space. So I know that we've got carriers here and we've got brokers here. So those intersections, of course, you can think of the frontline workers who are at the truck stops, are in their trucks in and out of communities. But what we want to do is we, of course, want to get them trained. We have 3 industry-specific training, and in under 30 minutes with a documentary-style video that's very compelling, a person can be trained. So that sounds like the logical thing. The carriers, they have access to the frontline workers, but brokers have access to the carriers. And so we look to brokerages to make introductions and to influence and leverage their position with the carriers so that we can get more folks trained. We have trained over 1.9 million individuals, and we expect we're really hoping to reach 2 million by the end of the year.
Before you transition slide, I noticed you have an app.
Yes.
You guys want to see it and download it.
Yeah, so our TAT app is, we just updated it. It's a really cool feature. It has all of our training materials right there at your fingertips. It also has a geolocation functionality. So let's say a driver is driving across states. Some of the states now have a human trafficking hotline, as well as the national human trafficking hotline. We are vetting all of the states' human trafficking hotlines, and if they pass our criteria, we're putting that on our app. And so if a driver thinks that they're seeing some red flags of human trafficking and they want to make a phone call, they can open the app and find the correct number just based on their location. And also the content can be customized to whichever industry they're in. There's also an option for just the general public, because all of us, regardless of our positions in the transportation industry, we're applicants in communities and we're able to spot signs. So, but the 2 million people, almost 2 million people that we trained, is only significant because tied to it are thousands of phone calls that have been made to authorities to report tips on suspected human trafficking cases. These 3 men are all recipients of our Harriet Tubman Award, which comes with a $5,000 prize, and it's presented by Progressive Insurance. So there on your left is Joe Wyatt. He was driving his truck. He worked for Winco Foods at the time and was driving down a stretch of road. He saw a woman who was dressed in nothing but a beach towel and had her head shaved, and she looked out of it and in really bad condition. He made a phone call into law enforcement for the safety of his cab, and that's what we teach. That's all we want people to do is make a phone call. We don't want them to interact in any way that might be dangerous. Law enforcement came out, got that girl help, and she was reunited with her family. Fast forward a couple months later, he was driving along that same remote stretch of road. He had a weather-related incident with his truck, and the trooper that came out to help him was the same trooper that helped that woman. So he was able to find out what had happened with that woman. She was a victim of sex trafficking. She had been drugged and was in really rough shape and ended up in the hospital. He also related that stretch of road had become a dumping ground for perpetrators to dump women in particular. This was the second Indigenous woman who had been dumped on that stretch of road.
Is there kind of doing that. So like certain age groups, certain gender, this tends to happen. Yeah, by and large, it's girls and women, typically younger, but not across the board. So there are men and boys and older women. That one in particular was 27 years old. Yeah. So the second guy there is Arian Taylor, and he was dropping off a load. He had been delayed. It was 3:30 in the morning, dropping off a load to a California business, and a 19-year-old came and knocked on the cab of his truck. He had one of our window decals that says, "Do you need help?" and has the hotline number on it. He was able to bring her into the cab, give her a drink, and make a phone call to the hotline, which resulted in her ultimately getting back to her family in a neighboring state. She was with a friend, we'll use air quotes there, a friend and her friend's boyfriend, and they were trying to force her into prostitution, and she refused. So when she showed up at the cab of this truck, she didn't have shoes on, she didn't have a lot of clothing on, she didn't have identification or money, and she wasn't in her own state. So Arian stayed with her and made sure that she was taking care of until a prepaid cab came and got her to some sleep. And the guy there on the right is Kevin Plymouth. He is retired now. He used to drive for Conway. And this was a pretty extraordinary story where he was at a truck stop and there was an RV built in the truck area. And he noticed some things just weren't right. There were multiple men going back and forth to the RV door for short increments of time. The guy who seemingly was with the RV kept going back and forth to the convenience store. And then we saw somebody snatch a young girl's head back into the RV after she had looked out the window. He knew that he had to make a phone call. A state trooper came out and ultimately ended 18 days of brutal torture. And when I say brutal, unspeakable torture and rape. So these two were, it was a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. They were selling their own list and then would show up at the RV to rape her. They're currently serving 40 and 41 years in prison because Kevin had the courage, the wherewithal to take a second look and simply make a phone call. Do you have any slides that you'd like to show? I think the one thing I'm really looking at is what are the signs to look for? You know, I mentioned earlier because mine feel the same way. When I'm going to fill up my car at the gas tank, I'm just thinking about getting gas and soda. I'm not thinking about around. Until we met and started talking about this, now I'm starting to look around and just see if there's something that's weird. So what are some of the red flags, the signs that are really helpful for people to know as they go off their lives?
The two biggest ones. Number one is any minor who looks to be selling herself for commercial sex is automatically engaging with human trafficking. When I gave the definition of forced fraud, extortion, those three things, they don't need to be proved with a minor. Automatically make a phone call saying you suspect human trafficking, not just prostitution, but human trafficking, and so law enforcement will come out there. The reason we ask you to say that you think that you're seeing human trafficking rather than prostitution is because forced fraud and coercion are very powerful tactics that can make a person look like they are actively involved in their own exploitation. I mean, what would you do if somebody said, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill your child? You'd go out there and you would act exactly how you were told to act to bring back the money you were told that you needed to get. And so you can't tell if you're looking at somebody who is just a prostitute or if they're being prostituted. And so that is very, very important. Make a phone call, even if there's a chance that you could be wrong. Human trafficking hotline and law enforcement have both said we would rather have you make the phone call and have it be wrong than never make the phone call. Secondly, if there's any sign of control at a gas station, a lot of times pigs will bring multiple girls in the car. They will drop them off and be a part of the bartering process and asking if somebody wants to purchase them. So you can actively see that there is a trafficker in control of that situation. any signs of tattooing or branding that indicate that there's somebody's property, oftentimes on a gross net, a barcode, a money sign, somebody's name on their hand. If you have the opportunity to speak to a potential victim, do you make eye contact? Do you know where they are? Are they in control of their own money or their own identification? So these are just some of the things.
Are there any parts of the country in particular that are more hot?
You know, we don't like to talk about that because when we're in those, you know, what we think are habits. What I'd encourage everybody to do is do a Google search, put in the name of your town or your county, and then human trafficking cases, and you will see just how close this crime is to where you live. It's happening everywhere.
So we see your contact information on the screen, curated on the website. What are the ways that can be involved with more?
Yeah, so if you're in a position within a company to get engaged with us, I would love to talk with you. Give me a call, shoot me an email, and let's talk about getting your internal employees trained, especially those frontline workers. If you're a broker, let's talk about how you can, number one, train your employees as well as encourage your carrier network. It's, you all are in such a unique position. You have I mean, it's really a gift that you are given to be able to make a difference in the fight against human trafficking. You are uniquely positioned, your influence matters, and you can make a difference.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing this with us. We appreciate that. And I'll have to see back in future seasons.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
The work that we do in supply chain is so important. Unfortunately, it's on the front lines. So I hope you guys get involved and find ways to train your staff, to train your team, to better understand it. Also, want to remind you that the tickets for the summit are on sale and there's discounts out there for that. If you go to the website, summit.com, and simply click on events, you'll see information for the summit. You can already register to love to register. Same team coming that. As a reminder, all the things that we talked about in the very first session here, we talked about membership, some of the benefits of that. We're going to be finalizing and rolling those things out. So we check your emails for that information so that you can be a part of it. Definitely your feedback as well, because we just know that you guys have way better ideas than we all collectively than just a few of us. So please make sure we let us know what's going on that. Our next group is going to be talking a little bit about carriers and the carrier enrollment. It's a dynamic and we're very excited to have them here. We'll be doing it in just a second as soon as we're ready to go. But just as a reminder, freightbroker.com. You have promos, you can check that out. We got some merch from Kales over along to the rest of the video to stuff. All right, our next panel is going to be talking a little bit about from a carrier perspective against some dynamic people that make out in the industry. And our moderator for this is somebody you might know out online on YouTube as Mutha Trucker. Mutha Trucker, since it's Mutha Trucker. He has 583,000 subscribers on YouTube, which just to give you a little tip, that's more than half the population of corporate property. So he's got like a small city following him, or he's like city following him on YouTube. He's going to be moderator on today. Please welcome to the stage, Alex Mine.
I'm here hanging out. So, first off, I was just like, what do we want to talk about right now? Because the economy sucks. None of us are making money. We're all hurting, and we all need drivers. And, what's the change and what's the excuse on that, right? So I was thinking that in my mind while I was actually having conversations with you. So a lot of these conversations today on your name tag, you can do the QR code for the questions, ask questions, and let's just have open dialogue because, hey, it's the last day. We all came here. We want to end it well. So I want to have my panelists here. Let's go. Ash, Big Bill, jump up here.
Hey, Michael.
know, my wife's not here. Um, so first thing first, right? I want to jump into this real quick. Let's see if I learn how to use this. Okay. So this is not to plug me, but yes, it will plug me. Okay, so what I want you guys to do first is, if you guys can, go ahead and basically follow me on Mutha Trucker News, because what I do here real quick is, about my analytics show that over 20 million drivers around the world watch the show, but pretty much almost every driver, unless they've been living under a rock, your drivers have watched one of my videos. And so I did a survey today, and I did it in the last 2 hours, and I asked the question, what's the number one reason why you are quitting your trucking company today, right? And I'm sure you guys might know the answer to that, but I didn't put that on the slide. Why? Because I'm forcing you guys to follow me. You see how that kind of worked right there? But I just want to jump into a little of this, and we're going to get into this and just have an open dialogue with everybody. So please ask a question. So has everybody seen this ATRI research thing that they put out there on carriers, right? And of course, they say there's about 3,700 people that surveyed this between mechanics, trucking companies, truck drivers, trucking managers. But as you can see on the list, the number one thing that everybody's complaining about is that the economy sucks. So today we want to try to help you solve problems versus just telling you that the economy sucks, right? So, I mean, that's what we're here for. And so I want to get to a couple of these things. So I'm going to jump this up. First off, Evan, you want to give a quick what we're going to do, and we're going to go down the list so that people can kind of see the expertise that's here, and so that the questions you ask, hey, we got some experts up here today, that might help. So,
Hey, Evan Shelley, CEO of Truck Parking. We're a marketplace where we help truckers find and reserve parking across the U.S. We help drop you from bids to monetize next to truck parking. And we're creating more truck parking across the daily basis.
I love that. Mike?
What's going on, guys? My name is Mike Lombard. You might know me on the internet as Lombard Trucking. I coach a business called Lombard Fit Motor Freight. I work as an in-person coach as well as remote. I spent 3 years over the road where I maintained a healthy lifestyle and ran several marathon races and helped drivers and advocate within the industry regarding health and changing the culture surrounding health and fitness. One everybody comes in, I found a big 56 group. I've been in the industry about a quarter of a century, almost 25 years. So I don't like to say, pretty rough. And it's kind of just ownership. And my focus truly is on not only just the entrepreneurial aspect of ensuring that carriers have the business acumen that's required. There's also providing education throughout the industry across multiple verticals, so everybody on the same page.
So there you go. I want to say this. Right now is the best time, and I see all your faces where you're saying this is not the best time, right? And the reason why I say that is because right now is a great opportunity where everybody is pretty much chasing the money, chasing pricing, but nobody's chasing service, right? And I had a lot of great conversations about this. And so, when it comes down to the economy being bad, when I did my survey, if you guys follow this, kind of freestyle this right here. I did the survey, and I wanted to do it today to see what people actually thought about this. So check this out, guys. And you guys can follow that when you guys see it. So an hour ago, about 600 truck drivers hold this. Major question. I'm doing a talk today, the next hour. So we're here today. What is the true number one reason why you quit trucking? Excuse my language, I put a poop emoji for this, okay? I said the company had poop equipment, the company had poop pay, the company lied to me, or trucking in general is too stressful. Well, I mean, you guys what do you think the number one answer is why truck drivers are quitting the company? Anyone want to yell out something? What was it, pay? Did I hear pay? Yeah, right, so economy, we know that, right? So check this out. Out of the 600 people that just voted on this, The company said should pay, excuse my language, 55%. But check this out. 29% of the people said that they quit their trucking company because the company lied to them. Okay, so I'm not here trying to do a blame game and say whose fault is what, but I am here to say that the second biggest thing on the list is you can't change the economy. We know that page number one. But the second thing is if you say you're going to do something, you got to do it, right? And we've all been in this before. Can I have you guys chime in on this? Has there ever been a time where you couldn't get home, you were promised something from your dispatcher, your manager, and it pretty much pissed you off? Anyone want to go?
Yeah, I'll start with that one because it just resounds. It's just like people who kind of give the understanding of scope of what drivers goes through. You know, the thing is that sometimes it's the most important thing from a driver's perspective. And I'll never forget my youngest daughter, back in 2006, I was doing open decks for Prime. My youngest daughter was right about 24. I was in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I got a call that Megan on the electric at the time. So of course I'm not getting that piece. I'm getting piece, I got piece just in time. I mean, I literally got to the hospital in one parking truck like 2 miles down the hospital. I got to the hospital, got to get gas, she was born. And I don't even call my dispatcher, just like my dispatcher knows who was driving at the time. Like, hey, she wants you here, you're home, congratulations, it's great. Great deal. I had a little signals that had to deliver things to North Carolina one day. He was like, by the way, man, sounds like you're one day drunk. And at that point, it kind of resonated with me, kind of moving. I'm like, I don't know, I guess one time I think to myself. But it just really shows you that, and I get it, it's business. But it's so transactional when it comes down to, the industry is transactional. And, when you talk about the money, when you talk about things like this, leadership is not one of those things that just because you plug somebody into a position, plug a driver into a position, plug a dispatcher into a position, it doesn't have to understand about it. But when you have those pressures that are forced down, you never know where it goes. I'll never forget that because for me, that really resonated. Just because I was like, that's all I changed from me as a driver. And it really just shows me the both our nature is business can be at times. It's always what do you like to type business, and I can truly relate to that. Yeah, there was a time when I was like asked to come off on time for a vote. I think it was like told to say it again. There was a Monday holiday in there, and I had gone out I got it was technically supposed to not go out until Wednesday, but there was a load on Monday. And I live in Austin, the load picked up in Houston. I got to the warehouse, it's closed. But the pickup time was for Monday at 9 a.m. or something like that. So it's like I got up 2 days early. And then I ended up waiting all day, and I dropped the trailer and picked up some preload one in the yard and took it someplace that was just like a wide thing.
No, and so I mean, look, for the people in the room here that are carriers, right? Raise your hand. How many of you always do your best to try to keep your drivers home? I see some hands here. And here's actually a good thing. Raise your hand on this so I get this right now. How many people in here are freight brokers, and how many people are here carriers? So freight brokers, raise your hand if you're still here. Right? Okay. And then I see and then in the back, how many people here are carriers? Right? So pretty much, I'm sure maybe you didn't raise your hand just because that's really wanted. Maybe I didn't want to raise my hand, right? But let me ask this question for the people that raise their hand that are carriers. At the end of the day, how many of your businesses are successful because you take care of your drivers? Raise your hand if there. You know what I mean? And so look, we're all in the same room, right? And since there's freight brokers in here and this is a carrier group, I mean, let's open this up to pretty much everybody here, right? I mean, this business is a human business, right? People invest in people, and somewhere along the line right now, because the economy is so bad that we're chasing the money, and a lot of people are panicking, and they're forgetting that it's not transactional, right? And so, for the freight brokers out there, how many of you take care of your carriers? And try to fight for the detention time, and try to fight for the good things, right? And you guys are here today, and I think that's what the summit's kind of about, is Everyone's here is actually the ones doing the good things, right? The bad actors in the business are not here. They're the ones at home right now. The computer scanning everybody, scanning all of us, but we're the ones that we're overregulated because of it, right? So it's just one of those things where I know it's a basic concept, and I'm going to get into this, and this is where I can really give you guys value, is branding. And I think all of us up here can kind of help you out with that. And I'll segue into that in a second, but I'm not here to hurt anyone else's business, but I'm pretty much free 99, guys. So would you be here today if business just came to your door and you didn't have to do nothing? You just opened up your email every day and the loads came in, the clients came in. I mean, none of us would be here today, right? So I would say that branding is a big part because right now with the economy being so bad, people really want good service. They're done with the bullshit. There are so many bad people out there that are just doing crap work. And they actually want the most to get to where they are, right? And so I want to get to this next one right here. Check this out. So I thought this was kind of interesting. Right? And Evan, I think you can chime in on this a little bit, right? It says here, so I did a poll here, guys. Have you ever been forced to violate hours of service rules to find safe parking? Okay, so I think I'm looking at this over what 4,800 truck drivers, said yes, that they have pretty much had to do something illegal on their logbook to try to find parking, right? So we all know there's a trucker shortage here, or there's a truck parking shortage here, and Evan, I mean, can you fuel up on this a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So drivers on a daily basis that are running out of time on their clock and they call their customer service, freaking out. Hey, you have anything to make? And we'll talk them through it. A lot of times if they're low on time, we're looking for them. Assuming we have something in the area at this point, we don't have stuff everywhere. We have 9 relocations. We need 9,000, 90,000. But we see it on a daily basis. Drivers calling in, breaking out, saying, I don't have to park on the side of the road. I've got 30 minutes left on my clock. I know no parking near me. I've checked all the apps. So it's definitely a thing that we see on a daily basis. And really, we're very focused on being part of the solution.
Yeah, so, I know it's almost like it's just in your head on the wall, like, how are we going to solve this issue, right? And I mean, that's a bigger question to be had, but, Evan here is trying to have a solution to that. And so definitely wanted to have him here on today. The big one that I want to talk about too as well, I was talking to Adam, we were talking about this, and, we had a great conversation about how, there's so many things that we're blaming each other on, but what's the biggest thing that we can actually?
You can only control what you can control. I think that when it comes down to running the trucking company, that's one of the things that we talk about. Running the trucking company is a business. And a lot of times when you go into a field like that, a lot of times I'll talk to, within our obviously we talk to carriers and so very, very regular basis throughout the day. One of the things that we find as a tonic is because of the call it the low barrier to entry, which that's debatable. Say that starting truck is low barrier to entry, but consider the cost associated, fixed costs associated with starting truck are much higher than else. When you get the barrier to entry, so the simplicity is to the trucking industry. One of the things that is usually important is understanding that this is not and where my railroad costs costs, and it was an opportunity costs, where's my ROI, just basically and when I look at, you look at the data that's out there now, we have so much money that's available to us now. Even from a marketing perspective, I was, back when I started, there was no, we didn't have smartphones, we barely even had outlet. There was nothing like this, so we had access to this information. But with the information that's available to us now, we find it just common that owners just still take unnecessary risks. When I say unnecessary risks, not evaluating the entire scope of work, not evaluating the entire scope of the equipment purchase that you need, not evaluating the opportunity cost when it comes down to insurance, what's my insurance? So like everything is that. When you get behind a truck, the first thing you can't do is get behind a truck by a truck over the brokers. That's just not, that's not what you can control. What you can't control is you can control, just purchased it, the frame rate's true. Will I be able to sustain it? You know, we always go and buy a house and buy our cars. Now, okay, you know, can I afford this? That's the first thing to answer this. Okay, what's the life may look like? But you know, when you go out, you see a lot of, and I'm not saying all, but we see a lot of owner operators, a lot of carriers just take unnecessary risks, you know, and not realize and not understand that part of it. And then when and when you start trying, and you're so focused, and you're so reliant is on the volatile spot market, that is so dangerous. Because if you're going to rely on the stock market, you also want to rely on the swings both up and down of that same stock market. So those are the things that just taking unnecessary risk, not evaluating the risks that are associated with it. And you got to understand at the end of the day, you know, you're running a business, running a very, very important key component of the economy, yes. But also you run a very competitive business, because when you look at it back, right now, 700,000 plus motor carriers to register. When you look at that, everybody's going after the same 15% of the stock. It's tough. It's a competitive environment, so you got to be prepared to compete.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're just doing raising hands here. You know, I know this is character group. So, you know, with Freight Broker, thank you just, you know, being in here and I appreciate you guys. But, you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, how many the carriers out here have a lot of direct freight right now? Have a lot of direct customers? You know, raise your hand. You know, so I see some people right here. And so it's really one of those things that, I mean, we can't really go into the past, but I hear this a lot, right? When the spot market is doing really amazing, everybody's jumping ship and doing the spot market. But we all know damn well that when the spot market is doing well, that's the time to go back to these shippers and say, hey, look, I know you're getting screwed right now, and I know everybody is just running the spot market and making 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever dollars a mile that is. Hey, right now, times are tough for you. Let's set something up. Let's build that relationship up, and let's keep it at this. But when the market shifts again, remember me, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of you in this room that you have those relationships, and that's probably why you're still in business right now today, right? And so, you know, definitely, either the Q&A is not working, or if anyone actually has some real questions, I would love to talk some shit with all you. You know what I mean?
I got a question. So we just had the international road check results come in a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
We learned that 23% of all commercial vehicles that were inspected are unsafe at any speed. I'd like to get you guys weighing in on, we have the people are concerned about lawsuit abuse and insurance costs rising. What about maintenance? What do you guys think about the vehicle maintenance we see in this business?
So that's a fantastic question. You know, I think that when you look at that, you know, again, you look back to sorry, what is the cost to maintain a lot of fleet owners don't even understand, like, hey, this is what the maintenance schedule should look like. You know, and what we find a lot of times is, and it could be a part of this, we're going to go, hey, you know what, this thing's up. Most of the time, we focus on breakdown maintenance versus preventative. You know, I'm going to repair it if it becomes an issue. I mean, because you can go out here now and there's 10 trucks, and I can probably point out 4 or 5 different probably have tires and probably pass the inspection. Because at that point, you know, hey, I'm doing just enough to get to this next level. You know, a lot of operators, a lot of carrier enforcement, they're doing just enough to get to that next level, get to that next destination, and hoping that they're able to facilitate that. But I had a client a couple of months ago, you know, watching my dad's name, tire came right off with the freighter right on the highway. But a lot of them too, what I want to say too, and sometimes, you know, you talk about control. I'm just going to call this baby and get it out one of those. I've been called back at the distance driving for basic pre-trip inspections. Let me tell you this, and I'm going to just call it what it is. A pre-trip inspection for me, when I started, when I got trained by a pre-trip inspection for me, start 15 minutes, sit behind it, and then wait until 15 minutes. That was a pre-trip inspection. You know how to get a tire check? You don't. Right? Let's do boom, 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 boom. That's it. That was how I feel like a pre-trip inspection. When I learned the inspection, when I turned 23, well, I realized, you know what, if I don't take care of this, it's not going to come out, it's not going to come out. So ultimately, what it boils down to, when we talk about maintenance, a lot of the issues that we see with maintenance happen in the steering wheel, happen in the steering wheel, where as drivers, they have to go and your fleet managers, who's ever working your maintenance programs, gotta educate that. We gotta educate, we gotta showcase what friction inspection looks like better. And even just now, you know, even when we're doing audits for carriers now, looking at dash cam data, we look at the pre-trip inspection time. We run 30 minutes of dash cam before, 30 minutes and after. See the pre-trip run, but we never see the problem. So it's things like that that really, when I look at that, I go back to control. I still don't think that we're doing the things that we can be doing. That's part of the reason why one of the trucks that's moving up and down the highway, it's not safe to, you know, it's a thing. So that's my point. Now, I'm curious about those tests. So is that the highest it's ever been?
That's a great question. No, it's not. The national out of service rate in our industry for commercial vehicles is 21.6%. So every single year we do international road check, like a clock, it's between 20 to 25% of all commercial vehicles inspected fail.
No, I was just curious about the recent now because I think that's all true. There's also which Chris Thompson to explain because he talked a lot about maintenance, and I saw this when I had my own truck too. Is a lot of people before you have businesses say you got to find a mechanic. You need to know a mechanic. You don't want to get robbed from dealerships or dealerships. So they're more commonly involved. It's even becoming increasingly harder and harder not to even rely on mechanics you get because of the parts coming in. Because of newer trucks, it's becoming harder and harder to find and get parts. And so parts for trucks, like there are, even if you are somebody who maybe runs a pre-emissions truck or whether it's older, it's getting harder and harder to find these parts where it takes 3 weeks to get something you need. It's 3 weeks of the truck not running. People are not in a position to now run a truck for 3 weeks. Right, I had to be off the road for a couple weeks because I had gotten back into. I would have probably kept driving and just duct tape it, but the headlight didn't work and I had other issues like there was windshield washer fluid that was cracked. So I had to be down for a couple of weeks and I was like door dashing and I like worked the door at a bar for like a music and grinding for a while. Some people don't have that opportunity. They've got kids, they've got families. So it's like I think those numbers, why it's unsafe. Labor rates, so the price of the labor rates has gone up everywhere as well as parts. It's like you're running across that line and that economic challenge, the risk versus reward. That's so crazy to just even think about this, right? So getting on an airplane today, raise your hand if you get on an airplane. So we got about people getting on an airplane. What if I told you 20% of the airplanes that are at the airport right now are not safe to fly on? You leave on the
I mean, I jump on Spirit a lot.
Oh, man.
Just think about that. Because at the end of the day, your life, you have no control. Like we get in the plane, I just watch people say, have a safe flight. But that's what they'll do. Right? I don't have no control. Back to that. Just really think about that. Like you have zero control over whether or not it's the pilot had a good day or a bad day, or the plane had a good day or a bad day, or the parts missing or whatever. But if it was 25% of the airplanes that were not safe, shit. Something very, very good. A truck fully loaded is 80,000 pounds. So let's say fully loaded is 80,000 pounds. And it moves pretty quickly. Get down the house about 6, 5, 7 miles. Just think about that. Like when you're going down a highway, you're trying, like every 10 trucks that have 2 or 3 of those trucks are probably not safe. Depending on what the circumstances are, it might be a little bit higher. If you've been to a port, anybody's ever been to a port, you would need a local generation. It's a lot higher than that. But when you think about that, you have no control over whether or not Longmore's truck is service properly. He just said, hey, man, listen, dude, like, man, I can't put 3 weeks out. I made it happen. I know it's going to make it. It's just, it's truly scary because when you think about the accidents that are involved with the commercial vehicle, you think about the tragic loss of life and the tragedies that are associated with that. The amount of pressure there is to ensure that these vehicles are safe on the highways, and the fact that there's becoming an uncontrollable variable there. In a federally regulated industry, you got the FAA that regulates the airline industry. You got the FMCSA that does what they can in the trucking industry. But, you know, when you look at that year after year, just like this video, year after year, time after time, we continuously straining, saying, hey, we need help. We need help. 20% of our trucks, 20% of the vehicles that are on this highway are not safe. But it's just, this road check is 20%. This road check. Well, when is enough enough? What are we going to do about it? We're just going to look at the data over there, what we're going to do. And that's the biggest issue.
You know, so can we blame the FMCSA for this or no? Is that a cop out?
That's I mean, who do you believe? I mean, you have that point. You don't blame the FAA. If I'm at airline, and you know, all of a sudden you got an issue with, you know, like you said, Spirit Airlines or whatever. We don't blame the FAA. We blame the company, right? So in a situation, do we blame the FAA for it to be at 20%? Or do we blame Lombard Trucker for his trucks being 20% out of service? So it was great. I had a great conversation last night, and with John, he made such a resounding point. We got to get some companies taken account as not only as a people, but from an industry perspective, there's got to be an accountability taken. And Lombard has no, with his trucks being 21% out of service, and nothing to do with whatever they do. I don't like to hear what you're saying. It's like, man, I don't got it. It's rent tight. I hear what you're saying. But ultimately, you're running a trucking company. You decided to take that risk. You decided to start the business. What goes into that business is your responsibility. And that's what I'm talking about from accountability. And now look, everybody doesn't want to talk about that. You know, when we talk about accountability, we're talking about running a business. Running a business, everybody can't do it. That's the reason why everybody doesn't do it. And that's why I struggle with, it's like what Matt just said, I struggle with what's happening because you can't say things. Sorry. I was just I just wanted to touch one last thing on it, like when it comes to down payment, like it's also, if you're one of those people where you have to run, I gotta be down for 3 weeks, or I'm going to run this shoddy equipment, you like running it as a business, making a business decision of, hey, maybe I step back for a minute, maybe get